In this video, we're going to try to understand about the matrices in the D.AI.SY Crowdfunding Project. So over here, we've got the case where, let's say this is me, and I bring in people. Right, so I bring in one person, another person, and a third person, and they fill up my first row. There's only 3 positions in the first row. What happens when I bring in a fourth person? So that person falls underneath the person somebody who's in my first row. So here we see the person on the left-hand side of my first row. So when I bring in a fourth person, so first of all, that person goes to the left-hand side of the person on the left-hand side of my first row. Then when I bring in another person, that's a 5th person that I'm bringing in. So he goes to the left-hand side of the 2nd person in my first row. And the 6th person goes to the left-hand side of the 3rd person in my first row. And then when I bring in somebody else, it goes to the middle position of the 1st person in my first row. Then the middle position of the 2nd person, middle position of the 3rd person. And then when I bring in other people, it goes to the right-hand positions of each person in my first row. Right? And in that way, I fill up the matrix. So you see that when you bring in people to the matrix, so first of all, the person falls on the left-hand side, then the middle, and then the right. So this is a case where there's no spillover. Now what happens when I get spillover? Now let's consider a case with spillover. So here on the right-hand side, here's me in orange, right? And above me is my sponsor. Let's say before I bring in anybody, my sponsor brings in somebody. So the person that he brings in falls underneath me on my left-hand side. And then I start to bring in people. I bring in one person, 2nd person. And then when I bring a 3rd person, instead of that 3rd person falling in my first level is already filled up. So that 3rd person that I bring in falls underneath this person that's on my left-hand side that fell underneath me from my sponsor. Right? So now the person that my sponsor brought in, he's now benefiting from me. He's getting spillover from me, even though I'm not his sponsor, but I'm above him in the matrix. So now he's benefiting from me, and he's going to get he's going to get a bonus for that, right? Because with the matrices, you get bonuses for anybody who's in your matrix up to 10 generations, provided that you fulfill the conditions for each row, right? So this person that I brought in, he falls underneath this person on my left-hand side. And let's say this person on the left-hand side, he starts to bring in people, brings in 1, 2, and then the person that I brought in, he also starts to bring in people. And this person, he starts to bring in people. Let's say this person who's on my right-hand side, he brings in 2 people. Then the person who's my sponsor, he brings in somebody else, and that person falls underneath this person who's on my right-hand side, because there's no more room on the first level. So now when my sponsor brings in somebody else, it goes to my 2nd level. So now this person that I brought in, he's getting spillover from my sponsor. And so in this way, if a person's got a strong upline, with people bringing in a number of people, so then you can get spillover from all different people in the upline. Right? So this is an example of getting spillover. Another thing about the matrices is that there's different matrices. When a person pays for the $100 D.AI.SY crowdfunding package, so he goes into the first matrix, the $100 matrix, and the people that will fall underneath him in that matrix might be different to the people that fall underneath him in the $200 matrix. The $200 matrix is a separate matrix, and similarly the 401, 801, and so on. Okay, so let's consider, let's say a person, he joins the $100 matrix. So let's say here's me in orange. Let's say I bring in somebody, and here we've got somebody white with a glow. This is somebody that I bring in. And then before I bring in somebody else, I get somebody from my sponsor falling underneath me as spillover. Then I bring in a 3rd person, also with a glow. And so that's the 2nd person that I brought in. He fills the 3rd position on my first row. And then when I bring in somebody else, so he'll fall as spillover in the next row, right? And then let's say this person, that's the first person that I brought in, he brings in 2 people. And let's say one of the people that he brings in is this purple one with a red glow. This is somebody who's a strong leader. And he's somebody that's going to bring in a lot of people, fill up his matrix, right? And this is somebody that was brought in by somebody that I brought in, right? And then this person that fell underneath me in my first row of spillover, he brings in 3 people. And then the other person that I brought in my first row, he brings in 1 person, but then he gets another 2 people as spillover, 1 from me and 1 from my sponsor. And the one he gets from my sponsor has a red glow that this is another person who's a strong leader, is going to bring in a lot of people. Okay, so we see over here in this $100 matrix that people have fallen in different places, and there's 2 very strong leaders that have fallen over there. So this is the $100 matrix. Let's consider now the $200 matrix. Now this person, white with a glow in my $100 matrix, he decides he only wants to go into the $100 matrix. He's not going to pay an extra $200 for a package, the crowdfunding package, to go into the $200 matrix, right? But the person that he brought in is a very strong leader. This person, he wants to get a lot of bonuses from the D.AI.SY compensation plan. So he's not settled with just going into the $100 matrix. He's going to go into several of the matrices. So he pays another $200 to go into the $200 matrix. But his sponsor is not there. You don't see this white person with a glow in this $200 matrix. He's not there because he didn't pay an extra $200 to get into the $200 matrix. So what happens to this strong leader that he brought in? So he will fall underneath me. He'll go up to the next person higher up, who is in the $200 matrix. So here he is underneath me, and he's bringing in people. And so I'm benefiting from somebody that somebody else brought in, but because he didn't go into the $200 matrix, he's not benefiting in that $200 matrix from this strong leader, right? So let's consider some other points of this $200 matrix. We've got my sponsor brings in somebody, falls underneath me as spillover, and I bring in somebody, and I bring in another person, falls underneath the person on my left-hand side as spillover, and then this person, he brings in people, and this second, and this person that's on my right-hand side that I brought in, so he's somebody that he went into the $100 matrix and in the $200 matrix. Yeah, you see in pink with a glow, pink with an orange glow, it's the same person. This is somebody that I brought in, and in the $100 matrix, let's say he gets somebody falling underneath him as spillover from my sponsor, who's a very strong leader, and maybe in the $200 matrix, this person falls underneath him. It's not it doesn't necessarily happen. It could be that strong leader might fall under somebody else, right? But let's consider that he falls underneath this person in the $200 matrix, right? Now let's consider the next matrix, the $400 matrix, and here again we have this person. The person that I brought in, he also went into the $400 matrix, and again he was fortunate to get this strong leader falling underneath him in the $400 matrix. So he'll gain a lot of benefit from that, right? And then there's some other people that fall underneath him as spillover, right? It could be that in the $400 matrix, the people that he brought in the $100 and $200 matrix, they didn't want to go to the $400 matrix, but he'll gain from spillover from me and people above me. So his matrix is still building up. Okay. Now let's consider what happens with the $800 matrix. Now let's say this person, when he started with $700. Straight away, he went into the first, second, and third matrix, right? The $100 matrix, the $200 matrix, and the $400 matrix. But the $800 matrix, it was a bit expensive for him. He didn't want to go into that one straight away, right? So he waited a while. He didn't go into it straight away. But while he's waiting, so people are still joining here in the $800 matrix. You see, and underneath me. Again, I'm getting spillover from my sponsor. Here I've got this person, this strong leader that falls into my $800 matrix, even though I didn't bring him in, but somebody that I brought in with my $100 matrix, he brought him in. So again, he's underneath me in my $800 matrix. I'm gaining from him, but his direct sponsor is not gaining in the $800 matrix, right? And then I bring in somebody else, and he joins my $800 matrix, right? Not this original person, this pink person with a glow. This is somebody else, right? I bring in that goes into my first row, right? And then people are bringing in other people, right? And then this person, the pink one with the glow, now he decides he doesn't want to miss out on the $800 matrix. So now he goes on to decides he's going to go into the $800 matrix. Well, he's already missed out going into the first row because it's filled up already. So by the time he pays to go into the $800 matrix, so he falls into the second row, right? It could be that he might have fallen into the third or fourth row, but let's say he falls into the second row, right? But then my sponsor, his the person that he brought in as a who's a strong leader, so he joins, and but now he doesn't fall underneath this pink person with a green glow because he's not on the first line. He falls underneath somebody else, right? Now it could work out that he would still fall underneath this person, right? But just for an example, it could be that he doesn't because this person he joined the $800 matrix a bit late. He didn't fall into the first row. He fell into the second row, and so now this strong leader, he's underneath somebody else in the $800 matrix. So although this person he benefits from this strong leader in the $100, $200, and $400 matrix, but he doesn't benefit from him in the $800 matrix. Now this is all just an example. It could be that this strong leader that in the $100 and $200 matrix he doesn't fall underneath this person at all, but then in the $400 matrix he does. People fall in different places depending on the order when people join. But the earlier people join, then they're going to be higher up in the matrices, and so there's going to be more people falling underneath them, right? So there's a very big advantage to get in early to be higher up in the matrices, and there's also an advantage to be in as many matrices as possible in order to not to miss out on the bonuses of the other matrices. Let's say that this person who took a while before he went into the $800 matrix, let's say he doesn't go into any of the other matrices, right? So he's not going to get any bonuses from the other matrices. Now he could have gone into the other matrices and got spillover and earned money from it, but he misses out on that, right? Everybody has to weigh up, what's best for them according to their means. I mean, there is the possibility the person will go into a more expensive matrix, and it will take a long time before it fills up, or it might not fill up sufficiently to cover the cost of going into that matrix. So everybody needs to weigh up for themselves the pros and cons of going into the higher matrices. But if somebody is not in a particular matrix, they do not get the bonuses of that matrix. They only get the bonuses of the matrix that they're in. Okay, so we've seen different things to consider with the matrices. We see the benefit of going in early to be on a higher level and to benefit from more spillover. And we also see the benefit of going into the higher matrices and benefiting from more bonuses from the people that fill up the more expensive matrices. Right, so I hope this gives more of an understanding about the matrices. Let's consider now what you earn from the matrix bonus. Now, anytime that somebody falls into your matrix, either because you bring them in, or somebody that you bring in, they bring in somebody, or somebody falls into your matrix from spillover, somebody who's in your upline, either your sponsor or somebody higher up, they bring in somebody and that person falls underneath you in your matrix. So then on that person also, you earn money. So on all these three different types of people, you earn money, and the amount you earn is dependent if you're eligible to earn a bonus from that generation, from that level in the matrix. But if you are, then you can earn that money independent of whether you bring the person in, or somebody that you bring in, they bring in somebody, or somebody falls into your matrix by spillover. All right, so the first two generations of the matrix, the first two rows, so So for the matrices of $100, $200, $400, all these different matrices up to the first 7 tiers, first 7 matrices. That's $100, $200, $400, $8, 1,600, and so on. The first 7 matrices. So you earn 4% on everybody that is in your first 2 generations. That's the first 3 people underneath you, and then 9 people underneath you. So you'll earn 4% on each of them, and it's 4% of what they pay to go into that matrix. So if it's $100 matrix, you'll get $4 on each person. If it's the $200 matrix, you'll get $8 on each person. If it's the $800 matrix, you'll get $16 on each person, right? And with the matrices 8 to 10, which are much more expensive matrices, with those you get 2% on each person that falls underneath you in the matrices. Right, so it comes out that if you have all 3 people in your first generation in the $100 matrix, so you'll get $12. And if all 9 places in the second level of the $100 matrix is filled up, then you get an additional $36. So it comes to a total of $48. And for the first 7 matrices, or the first 7 tiers, it will come out that for the first 2 generations that get filled up, you will get 48% of what you paid for that matrix. Now, if you've gone into more matrices, not just the $100 ones, but also the 200, 400, and so on, all the way up to tier 7, the first 7 matrices. So then on the first row, you get a total. If your first 3 positions are filled up on all those 7 matrices, you'll get a total of just over $1,500. And if then the next row is filled up, those 9 places, you'll get an additional $4,500. Okay, so this is talking about the first 2 rows. With the third row, so in order to benefit from the third row, so you need to be more active in building up a team. So you need to bring in at least 3 people directly underneath you, and the amount they pay for the crowdfunding packages needs to come to a total of at least $1,000. So you could have one person buying the package of 800, 400, 200, and $100, and so altogether he paid more than $1,000. And then, but you still need to have another 2 people, and as long as the total turnover comes to at least $1,000, and you've got at least 3 people directly underneath you who you brought in, not from spillover. You need to bring in these people. So then you will get 3% on everybody who falls into the third generation of your matrices. And in the third generation, there's 27 places. So you'll get 3% of 27. So it comes out in the $100 matrix, you'll get $81. Right? You get an additional $81 in addition to what you got for the first 2 rows. If you've gone into the first 7 tiers or first 7 matrices, you're not just in the $100 matrix, you're also in the $200 one, 400, 800, and so on, all the way up to tier 7. So then, if all those places are filled up, then you'll get over $10,000. And you can see from here that if you do get 3 rows filled up, so then the amount you get from the bonus from the matrix, it much more than covers what you paid to get into that matrix. All right, so this is the third generation. For the fourth generation, so then you need to directly bring in 6 people, and they have to have a total turnover of at least $2,000 that they paid for crowdfunding packages. It comes to a sum of at least $2,000. So then you can benefit from the next generation, and when this generation is filled up, there's 81 places, and if it's filled up, then for the $100 matrix, you get nearly $250 for that. Now what happens with the matrices is that that you might get somebody. Let's say you bring in somebody, and then they bring in somebody else, and that person that they bring in, maybe he's a very strong network marketer, so he'll start to bring in more and more people, but they will fall in lower on lower generations for you. If we go to the example that we had here, we had the example that I bring in somebody, the white person with a glow, and he brings in somebody, and this person that he brings in is a very strong network marketer. And now the people that he brings in are going to be underneath him. So that's on my third row and onwards. Now, if I don't have 3 people directly underneath me with a total payment of crowdfunding packages of at least $1,000, I'm not going to benefit from the fact that I've got this very strong network marketer on my second row, because all the people he's going to bring in is going to be underneath him. And in fact, if I'm only qualified for my third row by having 3 people directly underneath me, so then I'll benefit from 3 people that he brings in. But if he's going to bring in hundreds of people, they're going to end up being in my 4th or 5th or 6th row. And so I'm not going to benefit so much from the fact that he's a very strong network marketer, because I'm only qualified for either the first 2 rows or 3 rows or even the first 4 rows. I'm still going to miss out a lot on people that he brings in, right? And so that's the reason why there's a very, very big benefit to make sure to be qualified for the as many rows as possible. Ideally, if a person can bring in 24 people, and those people have at least 24 people directly, and those people have a total payment for the crowdfunding packages of at least $128,000, so then I'll be qualified for all 10 generations, right? So then it doesn't matter so much, where people fall in. If I get this strong network marketer on my second generation or third or fourth generation, I'm still going to benefit from a lot of the people that he's going to bring in, because I'm qualified up to 10 generations. Of course, when he brings in people and they start to go on the 11th, 12th, and 13th generation, I don't benefit from that, right? But I benefit up to 10 generations. So if I want to get the maximum benefit from the matrices, there's a few things that I need to do. One thing is that I need to try as quickly as possible to be qualified to benefit from the higher generations. And so a lot of strong network marketers, they have a goal that as soon as D.AI.SY starts, as soon as the crowdfunding project of D.AI.SY starts, they want to have 24 people ready that are going to join directly underneath them, and they'll have a total payment of at least $128,000. And that way, they're qualified up to 10 generations in the D.AI.SY crowdfunding system of the matrices. Now, people who can't manage that, if they're network marketers and they just want to be active, not just passive, so then they could try to bring in at least 6, or at least 3, or at least 6, or at least 9, and that way they're qualified for more generations. So the more generations you're qualified for, the more you can gain bonuses from the matrix system, not just from people that you bring in, but also from spillover, and also people who fall into your matrix when they bring in other people. You'll benefit a lot. If you just consider the thing that if you get a strong network marketer fall in underneath you, either because you get him from spillover or somebody that you bring in, he brings in somebody very strong, a strong network marketer will want to be qualified up to 10 generations deep, and so he will try to bring in at least 24 people. Now, 24 people, that's that will fill that will fill more than 2 rows. It'll be it'll fill 2.5 rows of his, right? So whatever generation he is, he's going to fill another. He's going to put people in another, at least in another 3 generations underneath that. So the more generations that you're qualified for, the more you'll gain from the matrices, and also the more matrices that you're in, then the more you'll gain from people that fall into those other matrices. If you're not in a particular matrix, if you're not in the $400 matrix, the $800 matrix, you're not going to gain any money from people that fall into that matrix, whether they fall into them because your sponsor brings them in, and or whether they fall into there because you brought somebody into the $100 matrix and then he brings in a strong marketer who goes into many matrices. If you're not in that matrix that he's in, let's say the $800 matrix, if you're not in that matrix, when he joins that matrix, he'll go to somebody higher than you in that matrix. And then when you join later, he won't be underneath you because you missed out. You missed out on him being directly underneath you. And so it's a big benefit with the matrices to be as qualified as possible for as many generations as possible, and also to be in as many matrices as possible, or what's referred to in this in these slides as it refers to as tiers. $100, that's the first tier. $200, the second tier. To be qualified to go into as many of these tiers as possible, to benefit from all the people that fall into those matrices. Right now, we were notified of a very special a special thing that they've built into the system, into the smart contract of the D.AI.SY crowdfunding system. They're built in that when you join D.AI.SY, in the first 48 hours after you join, then you can benefit from all 10 generations, even if you're not qualified. So that means that when D.AI.SY will start, and there'll be lots and lots of people joining. So if a lot of people fall underneath you, a spillover within the first 48 hours, you will gain from them being in your matrix. You get the 4% or 3%, and you'll gain from them being in the matrices that you go into. However, after the first 48 hours, when you have a lot of people in your matrix, and then they start bringing in more people, you won't benefit from those additional people if you're not qualified for those generations. So it's a very big benefit that for the first 48 hours we can benefit from all these generations. However, in order not to miss out on various bonuses after the first 48 hours, it's worthwhile to try to be as qualified as possible. I'm not giving financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor, but a lot of network marketers, strong network marketers, they want to be as qualified as possible to gain the most from as many generations as possible in the matrix system. And if you think about it, the fact that there is such a system like this, that in order to be qualified for the higher generations, you have to bring in at least 3 people yourself, or 6 people yourself, or 9 people yourself, or 24 people yourself. So you can imagine that people, they're going to be bringing in a lot of people. These network marketers or strong network marketers, they're going to be bringing in a lot of people. So there's a lot of scope for receiving spillover over here. Right. So I hope this gives more of an understanding to the matrix system.